What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Monday live show. It's the first live show in a while that we haven't had like an episode last week to talk about, but today we are going to break down the first season. So welcome for coming in. I have some special guests that I want to bring on. These are some folks that I love. I got to meet them all at Jordan Con, and well, I'll bring them on and then we'll talk about it. So let me bring on Joe, Jen, and Tom from Talk Around Riyadh. What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for coming on. We got to meet for the first time like last summer, which was totally awesome.
It was.
I tried to find like a picture of all of us because I'm pretty sure I took one, but I couldn't find one. This was the closest I could find. There's Jen in the front. And no other Talk Around Riyadh people.
I think we were all, or most of us might have been in the one we took like on Sunday,
right?
Where we were posing like Omar.
Yes. Oh my God, I forgot about that. I need to find that picture. What was he doing?
I don't know.
I think Joe and I were just behind you. You're so tall, we can't be seen.
Oh, maybe.
The problem is, yeah. So
well. Yeah, Jen is pretty tall too. So
yeah, absolutely.
Well,
I'm so tall. I wrap around from the bottom, and then I like come up to halfway up to your waist.
Well, I was sick last week. Now the rest of you are sick, so I thought I'd throw up this graphic here. Now, wait, do any of you actually have COVID? I'm joking about this here, but
I did. Yeah,
you did. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you guys are all good. But in case you're wondering why everybody's like coughing and like, hey, it's going around, all right? So, okay. So, who the hell are you guys? Why are you here? Tell these people who you are.
So we're Talk Around Riyadh. We are a Wheel of Time podcast that follows the production of the Wheel of Time television show. We've been doing this for. What, 2.5 years? A little over 2 years, right? Maybe
a little over 2 years. Yeah.
We started about 2019. We thought we thought we had maybe a year before the show was going to come out, and then COVID happened, and we had almost 2 years. Actually, it was about 2 years, a little over 2 years from when we So we had to fill that time with a lot of discussion about things. Not as exciting as the television show itself.
Isn't it nuts that it's been 2 years? Like honestly, it feels like it flew by.
Yeah.
In retrospect, it did. I would say during the like the COVID shutdown times of the show production, when we would like try and fill an hour's worth of podcast off of like one telescopic photo that was taken like 400 yards away. We're like, oh, if you could see here, the pants are clearly made of coarse wool. Like those were tough times, but in retrospect, it zoomed past. It's been really exciting. To like, we've been very excited about the show. Obviously, all of us here for quite some time, and to watch the general populace catch on to what we've been so hyped about. It's been cool.
How did you guys get started as a podcast? I don't think I've ever actually asked you this. Like, what brought the three of you together? Who had the idea? How'd this happen?
So we've known each other since college. So we've been friends for a long time. We've all read the books. I think I introduced it to Tom and Jen. And when A Memory Light came out, that was basically it. Like, I finished reading the books. I think I reread A Memory Light once, and that was kind of it for Wheel of Time for me. Like, I hadn't really gone back to it because it was over. And then like the news of the show came out, like, and I was like, it was real news this time. Like, they're actually going to be making a show. Like, Sony picked it up, and it was like actually happening. I think Harriet had made her announcement and everything like that. And I got like revitalized, and it's actually funny because I was like bored one day on my way to work looking for a new podcast to listen to, and I said, you know what? Let me see if there's any Wheel Time podcasts out there. So I was in Spotify, I searched, and What Spoilers was the first podcast that came up. So I started listening to What Spoilers, and I binged it for like probably 4 or 5 months. And then I was like, man, I want to do a Wheel Time podcast. And I started like thinking like, all right, who should I ask to do a Wheel Time podcast? Because we have a lot of friends who read the series. So it's always like, interesting to me when we meet a lot of people who say they don't know anybody, they've never had anybody talk to the series about it. I've always had that luxury of friends who've read the books. So I said, Jen and Tom were the only ones who didn't say no. No, I'm just kidding. No, they were at my house one summer day for a barbecue, and I said, "Hey, you guys want to do a podcast about Wheel of Time?" And they were like, "Yeah." And that's it. We did it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny because that's about, my channel is a little bit more than 3 years old now. And that's a pretty similar story to how I got started. I was like, right after Harriet made it was like a cryptic announcement a year before they announced that it was Sony.
Mhm.
She just said the legal troubles have done, and they major studios picked it up, and then crickets for like a year.
Yeah.
And I was like constantly like getting on like, okay, Wheel of Time news, Google, like nothing. And I thought, well, maybe somebody on YouTube is talking about it or something. So I got on, and like literally the only Wheel of Time videos I could find were the shitty Winter Dragon thing, right? There was that fanfic like shot, like do you know what I'm talking
Flight
about?
from Shadow.
Yeah, Flight from Shadow.
Yeah.
We had two of the people on our show.
And then Daniel Green made his Eye of the World video, and or his like, let's talk about Eye of the World. And that was like it was like crickets. So I was like, oh shit, I think I'm gonna make a YouTube. Speaking of Daniel Green, what the hell?
Oh,
First of all,
go Michigan. Daniel, they lost. Did you see that? Did you see that game?
Yeah. Michigan lost, Daniel. Ohio State won. First of all, you know damn well you like Buckeyes. How could you hate a Buckeye? For those of you who don't know what Buckeyes are, it's like peanut butter covered in chocolate in the shape of like it's a nut. They're like Reese's cups, but they're better.
Oh, okay. I never knew that.
I didn't know that either.
Before. Nope.
Daniel. He is just trolling because he knows he loves them. Daniel used to live here in Columbus before he cheated and left. So he took off.
Tom has relatives in Columbus.
Yeah, I do. Who are also big Buckeye fans. He cheated and he became a Michigan fan. Dang.
No, he's not even a Michigan fan. He doesn't like football.
Well,
he's just trolling you.
Now, Daniel had a girlfriend at the time, I think, that dragged him to an Ohio State game. So he did go, but I don't think he's a fan. He moved to Virginia. So, but hey, Daniel, hey, welcome. Okay, what were we talking about? Shit.
The Wheel of Time
got me all wound up. Yeah. So first of all, I already threw this up there, but I'm going to throw it again. Where can people find your podcast now? Obviously at talkaroundriyadh.com.
Yeah. I mean, go to anywhere you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, everywhere there's podcasts, you can find us.
Yeah. And go there and rate them. They're awesome. They're fun to listen to. You
can listen too. You don't have to just rate us.
Do that too, though. Well, okay. So you've talked about it at length. I've talked about it at length, but we have not talked about it at length together. So, general thoughts from the Talk Around Riyadh crew. What were your overall thoughts on season 1? Are they generally positive, generally negative, kind of Where are you at?
When do you want to go first?
I'm generally positive. There were some changes that I couldn't. It was hard for me to overcome them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Perrin, Egwene, Rand love triangle is like a pretty big one. But I said to myself, like episode 6, everyone was raving about it, and I wasn't there yet. It took me actually till I liked the beginning episodes, and then it kind of went down for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then by episode 8, I just have to say, oh, that's interesting. Like I had to literally like step outside my body and just let it go. And I actually really enjoyed episode 8. I know some people didn't, but I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, they're going to channel. They're all going to channel, and Nynaeve is kind of dead, but okay, cool. No, that's good. That's interesting. I'm curious to see where they're going to go. That's what I had to kind of do to myself to make it. And so I hope, I really think that a lot of things that were awkward or weird had to do with COVID and Barney Harris leaving mid-season. So I'm hoping season 2 seems like the filming is going smoothly, and I hope it'll be a little smoother. But overall, I did like the show.
Yeah.
I think Jen, did you rate it the highest out of all of us? When
I
we
think
did
I
our-
might have. It was
Yeah.
over 4. So I mean, it's
4 out of
I think
5,
I only.
right?
I was
rated,
gonna say
like,
4
one
out of
episode.
10. You
No,
guys.
no, out
No,
of
4 to
5.
5. 4
We were
to
doing
5.
stars. We were doing
Yeah.
5-star reviews. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say, what about you, Tom? But
Oh, all right, well, good. I saw that question coming. No. Yeah, I would say similar to Jen. It's really odd because again, like episode 6, I had heard before it aired, like for the people who got advanced copies of the show, critics and things of that nature, like, oh, episode 6 is probably the best episode because like the first 6 episodes were what they got to review. And so maybe it was because I came in with pre-hype. That's my least favorite episode of the first season. And I think that the individual scenes in that episode are really, really good. And I think that it doesn't tie together well. And I thought that what it did, like, I think it bore fruit. It was so unfocused on the Emmons Field characters that the show had to kind of rush in a lot of character development in the last 2 episodes to get people where they needed to be. And I think that balance was out of whack with it. That being said, I think, yeah, overall, I rated it very close to a 4 out of 5. We actually did an average of all of our ratings episode by episode for the season. And I think as a podcast, we rated it 3.97 stars or something like that. Yeah, I thought, similar to Jen, as I turned on episode 8, I actually just felt like psychologically, like the chains of the book, like dropping off. And I was like, no, I can accept this for entertainment how it is. And the way I put it on our show was like, I really like the Jurassic Park movie that came out like in the 90s. And that movie is absolutely nothing like the Jurassic Park book, other than the general concept of there's dinosaurs. Like the good guys are bad guys, like things are completely changed around. And like if I can enjoy that, and I love both of those things a lot, I can enjoy this show. So that's where my head was at.
Before we get to you, Joe, if you guys are new to these live shows, people will throw money at me to put this stupid wig on that Delusions of Grendel bought me.
I
one
didn't know
moment.
Delusions bought that for you.
So the next time we see you, we could donate wigs to this cause.
Well, yes, at this point I do need to get some new wigs because this one, my Boris Johnson wig.
Oh my God.
It does look like Boris Johnson.
It's not in good shape, but I like to put it on in various ways here. So, yeah. Anyways, Joe, now that you can't take me seriously, look me in the eye right now as I wear this and tell me your serious thoughts on the show.
Much of what Tom and Jen said, I think I was able to unshackle the book pretty early on. I think probably after like episode 4, I was able to do that. And I think like by that point I was totally, separating the two, but I still had issues with things. Stuff that I liked a lot though. I feel like the things that I liked the most were the actors. First of all, I think that's probably I think the casting was done very well. Things that I didn't like, I thought the writing was inconsistent from episode to episode. That's probably my biggest problem with the show is the inconsistency from episode to episode. They have very different feels, very different pacing, and it's like you could tell the different styles of I don't know if it was from the writers or the directors or whatnot. But yeah, I liked the favorite episode was probably 3, maybe 7 was really good as well. 7 and 8 I liked a lot as well. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was good overall. I really enjoyed it. I was able to separate the books from the TV show. There were some things that annoyed me that I didn't know why they changed or didn't understand why they changed it. And there were things where I was trying to figure out early on, why did they change this? Why did they do this? That they addressed later on, and it made me feel better. But I was kind of hoping that they don't keep doing that.
Well, conversely, though, there were things, because I thought the same thing. There were things they did pay off later that they kind of trickled it out. But then there were things that also I thought were not paid off. And so they felt sort of like, why did we do that? Because it didn't have a payoff. I'll give you a good example. I really, truly think that 2 of the main issues could have dealt with and made this season feel a lot better at the end. One is the most obvious. They just needed more episodes.
Mhm.
Had they gotten the time, then the choices to put half of an episode into Steppen wouldn't have been as big of a deal. Like, I thought that was done well,
Mhm.
but it didn't actually have a payoff.
That was my
So-
least favorite episode.
Right.
That episode.
Well, again, I'm with you on that. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't that it was a bad storyline. It wasn't that it was didn't have a payoff. It was just that why was that there? Like, it was to show the Warder bond, right? But like,
Mhm.
there wasn't really truly a payoff for that in this episode, or in this season, I should say.
Mhm.
So it's one of those things that I kept waiting for them to, okay, maybe it'll make sense later why they did that, and then it didn't.
You know, are we how spoilery are we in this?
Oh, you
in
can
this show?
go. I'll go full go.
Okay. So when they did that and they started, like, they were really sprinkling in a lot of things leading you to believe that Maureen was going to die at the end of the season.
Mhm.
And I was actually thinking at a point after that episode, and even a little bit later on, I was like, are they going to kill Maureen at the end of the season? I was really thinking that it was possible that could happen.
Welcome back, Tom. We knew you got your opinion out, and you were just like, "All right, I'm done. I'm
I'm
leaving.
out of here.
I'm out."
Yeah.
No.
Apparently, there's a problem with the fan of my computer.
Uh,
So hopefully that doesn't happen again. I'm sorry.
it's all good. I mean, we just sat here in silence waiting for you to come back. So it's
I-
no pressure or anything.
It was very awkward.
Yeah, it was
We
weird.
didn't know how to converse with each other without your present, Tom. You're the glue that holds this whole thing together.
Uh,
That's it.
well, yeah, and I'll say this: like, my thoughts on it. So I said that number one, more episodes, because they could have made some better choices if they did only get 8 episodes, and obviously they did. They could have, I think, been a little bit more choosy in terms of what they included and what they didn't.
Mhm.
You know, like, again, the Steppen thing is probably the best example of that. Why we didn't probably need the Amelisa and Agelmar piece if we didn't have time for character development of the other people.
Mhm.
You know, things like that, right? That just felt a little clunky. The other thing that I will give this as a small excuse for the writing. I really truly think episodes 7 and 8 struggled because, I mean, Barney's departure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They literally weren't expecting that. So it was a complete rewrite at the last minute. That, of course, then rushed the production. Now, I'll put this on Amazon a little bit. They could have given more time for post-production on that
Mhm.
they didn't give. Right. And I thought it showed. I thought the episode 8, I thought there were editing issues. I thought the CGI was a little wonky. They clearly couldn't get extras for that battle scene.
Yes.
Which, because of COVID, I mean, that's an understandable thing. They couldn't bring in 1,000 extras for that.
Mhm.
But the flip side of that, though, is that I would have just not shown it because I thought that battle looked. So it's really funny. That final episode flipped for me. The part that I was worried they wouldn't get right was how are they going to do the eye?
Mhm.
And that's the part of the episode I thought they did well.
Yeah.
The battle was the part that I thought, oh, they'll nail that. Most of these fantasy series can get that done well. And I thought that was the worst part. My opinion.
Yeah. I hear what you're right. You're right. I was expecting more out of the Tarwin's Gap battle for sure. I didn't like the way that whole thing played out, to be honest with you. That was certainly probably my least favorite part of that episode was the Tarwin's Gap battle.
Yeah.
The whole linking and the Nynaeve almost dying, and I was like, why?
I didn't mind the linking. I just think that she looked dead. So to people that aren't like talking about this all the time, like I would just think that she was dead and she brought her back to life. Honestly, if I wasn't on a podcast and talking to people about it, to me she was dead.
Not only is Egwene a Ta'Veren in the show, she is also a Phoenix because Phoenix tears, if you watch Harry Potter,
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes.
right.
have healing qualities. And so just thought I'd throw that out there. It's a theory I have. It's a crossover. All joking aside, the last thing that I would throw out there and I wonder if you guys have this concern too. So did you guys all watch Game of Thrones? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So to me, the issue with Game of Thrones, yes, it started suffering when they got past George R.R. Martin's writing. But primarily what happened, where the writing went bad, was they started writing to the plot rather than writing to the characters.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what I mean by that is Oh, I really think it would be a cool shot if Danny goes up to the north and rescues John and
Yeah.
all the people. So that dragon's going to teleport 3,000 miles in an hour
Right.
because we need the plot to do that. I want Varys to be over there with Daenerys, so he's just going to appear over there, even though in the last scene he was in King's Landing.
Yeah.
Right? That's where that writing started to suffer, because they wanted something cool, whether it was a visual, whether it was a event, whatever it was, they just needed it to happen, like the dragon getting killed by the ships that it clearly should have been able to see, all that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's why I'm bringing all that up. My worry right now with some of the writing is that they have started, in my opinion, it feels a little bit like we're edging that direction where we're writing for spectacle or writing for the moment rather than, and they're writing themselves into corners with it. So Nynaeve's explosions were cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that final channeling battle where they wipe out 10,000 Trollocs was cool. But here's what they've done now.
Yeah.
Now 4 barely trained Aes Sedai can wipe out an army of 10,000.
Oh,
Yeah, but
exactly.
they died.
Well,
Like
but,
nobody would do that because they'll die if they do it.
okay, so even if you could do half of that, why did Leandra and Alana, Kareen, why did they struggle with like 50 guys attacking their camp?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Right.
100%
Yeah, I don't
agree. I thought like they painted themselves into a corner so early on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a spectacle for people who don't know better, but I don't know how they jump from here. Right? Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm worried about.
I'm wondering if that was a rewrite as well. Like, was that always planned for the? I don't know. It was planned.
Here's
for
how
them
you
to
can
do
tell. Actually, Daniel mentioned this, and he's dead on in his video. Do you notice how you only see them out in front of the little like rocky outcrop?
that? Mhm.
That's because Faldara was a location shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They couldn't go back. So that's
Oh,
why
the
they weren't on the
fortress
wall.
was
Like, yeah. So they filmed them outside doing the little thing. They had to do something with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
See what I mean? Like those were reshoots. That was the COVID reshoots that they had to deal with.
So it was going to be a battle with soldiers fighting Trollocs, and maybe they were going to do some channeling and help, but then they said, "Oh, we can't do this whole battle with people, so we're just going to have to make it all the one power."
I think they were stuck into a corner with it. I really think that's what happened.
Yeah.
And they
I
had
feel...
to.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100% with that. And I think that, like, you know, they make some mention, like, oh, it's like, you know, it's 5,000, it's 10,000 Trollocs. We don't, like, they
Mhm.
could have, they didn't have to make the number that high. They could have made the number whatever they wanted and said, like, that is the limit that Faldara could take. And, like, if you say it's 1,000 Trollocs, then okay. But, like, again, they could take on an army, the two of them by themselves. Every time in seasons
Mhm.
going forward, they get put into a situation, you're going to be like, well, Nynaeve could just kill everybody here on the field by herself, right? Like, why
Right.
don't you just do that? Like, I agree with you. It's, I think that they definitely overshot their shot with that, and they may have to kind of figure out a way, like a plot contrivance, to walk that back, or they're going to ramp the numbers up to be like, it's a bajillion Trollocs this time,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, there were like, how many fades were there supposed to be in there too? There was supposed to be a lot. I mean, you
Yeah,
didn't even
like
really
50.
see them.
Well, and you didn't see 10,000 Trollocs. You saw
No,
maybe
no.
2,000.
Yeah.
Right.
So they would have been better off just saying 2,000 Trollocs. But the problem is Faldara as a fortress very clearly should have been able to hold up against.
Yeah.
Here's how I would have done it had I been in their shoes and I had been forced to do the rewrites. I would have kept the battle to Faldara, and I would have had Fane go around and kill, like with the Murdral that he let in. I would have had them sabotage the defense,
Right.
because you can
Right.
do that with individual extras.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Small shots. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it doesn't have to be the wide shot of the battle.
Mhm.
And in that, you could have seen some of those things, and that's why it was closer than it should have been. Because to knock down a fortress the size of Faldara, or to beat, like, you would have needed far more Trollocs than that.
Yeah.
Right.
But the other issue, I mean, I'll give you, this is nitpicky, but like the whole Shan-Chan wave, like, okay, yeah,
that
it's-
poor little girl.
poor little girl, right? Because she's the only one on the beach. And I know people are trying to come up with other reasons why, but the reality is that's just out of character for the Shanshan.
Yeah.
Because that's not
Right.
why they're there, right? They're
Yeah.
not there to
Right.
be evil.
Right.
They're-
They said like they'll take over, and if you guys are agreeable to it, everything goes on as normal. They're
Yeah,
just in charge
Mhm.
now.
Yeah,
They're
they
not
don't
going
wanna
to wipe
destroy
out
it.
your town with a
Yeah.
tidal wave.
Right.
That was very
Again,
strange.
I don't mean it's nitpicky, but it's not that I feel like they full gone into that, but my slight hesitancy coming into season 2 is I hope that's not the trend, that we write to the spectacle rather than writing
Mhm.
good character moments. Because
Yeah.
my favorite episodes of this season were the ones where the Emmonsfield 5 characters got to interact.
Yeah.
Yes.
My favorite part of episode 8 was Rand and Moraine walking through the Blight and having little conversations at each other. Those types of character moments, I think, are what really drive shows like this and what
Mhm.
drive the engagement. And I think that's sometimes where they were lacking. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, we didn't get enough of that. The Emmonsfielders interact. We got it early on,
Mhm.
but we didn't get it much later on as the show progressed. It seemed to gear focus more towards Logain or Moraine or
Yeah.
Steppen or
I think that's why I really liked episode 3, because I feel like it was different, but it still stuck to the main kind of story, and it
Yeah.
had, like the Emmonsfield 5 really like kind of centered in it.
it felt the most like the books, I think,
Right,
episode
yeah.
3 to me at
Yeah.
least.
Well, I totally agree. I thought episode 2 and 3 had some
Mhm.
of the best character moments in the show.
Mhm.
So I was a little worried. So it was funny because, like, okay, so we were in London at the premiere, right? And there's all the emotion because you're there at the premiere and you're like, oh, I just talked to Rosamund Pike and then now she's up there, right? And like I remember because we watched episode 1 and then episode 2 like back to back. On this huge ginormous screen, which was so big, in fact, that you really couldn't even see anything because it was like, but
Yeah.
like I remember after episode 1 finished, I was like, oh, I guess I'm hyped, but oh, like that felt people. I remember thinking in my head, this is going to be really divisive. And then they showed episode 2, and that salvaged quite a bit of it to me because episode
Mhm.
2, I thought, oh, they settled down, and this feels a lot like the Wheel of
Mhm.
Time,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So I think generally most of the season, to give my overall thoughts, like I really think generally the first season felt like the Wheel of Time. There are choices I would have made differently, but I also give them the credit is they wanted more episodes and didn't get them.
Yeah.
They lost an actor in the middle, and they had literally 2 COVID shutdowns.
Mhm.
So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for season 2.
Yeah, I agree 100% there. I think a lot of that, I'm going to say that I'm hoping that that's what really affected some of the decisions that they made, which I'm
Mhm.
sure it did.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll find out in season 2 because they should be done filming soon in like a month or 2, right?
They're not too far off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, there had to be more like with Matt and Fane in episode 8.
I would love to get my
So like
hands on those
bookend,
original
because they have
scripts.
that scene in episode 1. He's like the only one that really like interacts with him.
Mhm.
And then to have like a bookended scene in episode 8 of him would have been so good.
Yep.
Ah,
I
oh,
think Perrin's entire part was supposed to be Fane. Or
Yeah.
Matt,
part.
yeah,
Yeah,
at
it
the
should have
end.
been Matt. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what Perrin would have done, but
Yeah.
It would've
Well,
been
you know
that.
what, people, so a lot of people were getting on that too, like, oh, Perrin didn't do anything. Perrin didn't do anything. Perrin doesn't do anything in the first book at
Oh.
all, really. Anyway, so like it's not like they took stuff away from him. Like after him and Egwene are rescued, by the way, they don't even rescue themselves. He doesn't really do anything.
But this
Perrin.
is a
Like, what does
TV
Perrin-
show, so you can't have characters just sitting around doing nothing because Rand's not there. Like
Well-
they have to do something.
What do you guys think about the choice to hide who the Dragon Reborn was for the season? Like, was that a good choice? Was that a bad choice?
I-
What are your thoughts?
It's hard for me to answer this without being biased, but I think, and I started picking this up during like the second or third episode, I think it wound up being a poor choice. Like, I don't want to say it was a bad choice. I think it wasn't executed as well as it could have been. And I think a lot of the things that people have issues with about the season, the book readers, it can kind of all funnel down to the choice of keeping who the dragon a mystery. Like they had to make all these scenes to make you think it was Nynaeve and have her, the burning sun or blazing sun moment, and all of those different scenes because they wanted to trick you or try to trick you.
Well, Chansonnet brings this up, and she's right, though. I saw quite a bit of conversation, including my own family, talking about, like, I'm back, like, at Christmas, and my family was on, like, episode 5 or 6. And they're like, they were all arguing with each other about who the Dragon Reborn was.
Yeah.
So, like, from that perspective, that was a success. So, so I would agree with you. Do either of you have, like, a different take on that? Like, do you think it was a bad idea, good idea?
I'll say this, like, we talked about well before the show came out. Like, this was something that, at least from my point of view, like, I wanted the show to do. I wanted the show to have mysteries in it and not just go, well, the books are out, all the mysteries are solved, and, like, we're just going to play that out, but create new mysteries so that viewers could watch and get a feeling of what it was like to read those books and theorize. And I think that you're right. That wasn't for book readers. Book readers know what the answer is. And, like, some people freaked out and thought they were going to change it. But, like, those people, I think, were just a little bit being dramatic. But it was for non-book readers it was a hook to try and figure out what could it be. And it gave you, like, it gave you investment in characters beyond, like, the minutes that those characters had, right? Like, Perrin has, like, you know, a majority of Perrin's time is really just being very, very traumatized by what he accidentally does in the first episode. But, like, you know, there's something weird going on with him and wolves, and, like, what's happening there, and, like, could he be the Dragon Reborn? And it gives the audience, like, this investment in his character and trying to figure out what's going on with him that may not have otherwise been there.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Jen? Did you have it?
I think it was fine that they did it for the show. I think it suffered again because Rand and Matt kind of fell away from the story in the later episodes a little bit when they were just kind of hanging out in Tarvalon, and I feel like Rand didn't have that much to do and then kind of came out of nowhere and was like, oh, it's him. I don't know. That's, like, it felt weird. It felt like I said, the whole, like, those last couple of episodes felt awkward to me, but I think it was a good idea in general to keep it a secret.
I thought they did Rand's little reveal there better than I thought they would do it. Now, this is not necessarily my opinion, but more of just a question to pose. I heard Brandon Sanderson talk about this. The choice to do that, while I think it was a good one, here's why I say it's a good one. Because if it did get non-book readers to engage and talk about it and had that water cooler talk, which I witnessed firsthand, right? Then that's a success. Okay. Like, they didn't write the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones. And again, I keep evoking that. Like, if you were a book reader, you knew that was coming. Right. But every non-book reader was like, oh my God. Like, the day after that, I remember just watching everywhere to people react to that because I knew it was coming. Right. So anyways, like, I think that was a success, but the choice to do that, I do think, hurt the character development of some of the Emmons Field 5 because they really couldn't get too much into their stories without giving away too much.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I think
it's funny.
Suffered.
I was actually just somebody posted what possibly could be the original script for episode 1 on our Discord, and I was reading it before this. And it looks legit, to be honest with you, because it has stuff that's not in the show, but that we've seen in the teaser trailers. And it has the scene of Rand taking Tam back and the fever dream sequence. It has it in there. So it was originally in the script. And then I guess maybe they pulled it because they thought it was too obvious then that Rand would be the Dragon Reborn. My one problem with it is, and I do like the way they did the reveal with Rand, and I liked how Mach and Shin, told him that he was the dragon. I thought that was really cool. But I just hope they don't keep, and maybe again, this is from the book reader's perspective. I hope they don't keep just leaving gaps in the story, and then you're like, oh, what's this? And then you like hope that they're going to fill in the gap later on, and that's their plan, is to kind of constantly leave gaps and fill them in with flashbacks continuously.
Well, that's like the Westworld strategy, right? That worked for one season. The second season was okay, I get it, and then you're like, okay, enough.
Yeah.
Like I got it. Like
Yeah.
real quick, let me hit some of these comments. Jay Diggity says, so they've made it clear you can't always believe what you see. Could Rand have been at the Gap in some way? Not sure how, but it would clean up some of the power
I don't
creep.
think so.
No.
I think it would feel like retconning if they did that right now. Like they would have needed to leave better hints that was happening somehow, some way. Like maybe some type of third party causing something that we saw but weren't sure what it was.
Yeah.
But now, as we've seen it, I don't think they can do that. Beth Weston, just a tip for the mods. Thanks for kicking butt in chat tonight. I don't know. I haven't been as paying close attention to chat, but they're always kicking butt. So thank you, Beth. Yeah, I don't want there to be any tricky retconning. Like, I liked how they played out the stuff that we could have missed. Like Rand was actually the one channeling the Trolloc off, right?
Yes.
Like that stuff was cool. That reveal was good. But yeah, let's shift off of season 1 for a moment and let's talk about season 2, of which we still know precious little about. But like, what are some things that you guys are this will be a very multi-pronged question, so answer how you see fit. Expecting, excited for, right? Like looking forward to, any of that for season 2?
I'm very excited that we got a casting for Barthanes because it's one of my favorite parts of the Great Hunt when Rand goes to Cairhien. So I'm like, oh, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do that regardless of what it looks like. I was very excited to hear that he's been cast and we're gonna be getting that.
How the way that the end of season 1 ended, like how does Rand end up going to Barthanes' manor with everybody? I mean, he probably does it in the same way, but maybe he doesn't go. But
I mean, they sort of implied that he was going to the Io Waste.
Yeah, right. Like he's at the spine of the world, right?
And looking at the desert as he's right. Like
I think he's going to I think they're going to concurrently run book 2 and 3 somehow in some twisted way. Rand's going to head towards. I think Rand's going to Tyr, and I think Perrin and whoever else, I don't even know who the hell else he's going to be going with, Ingtar and Massima and Uno are going to be going after the Horn. Possibly not.
I agree. I mean, I think there's obviously going to be a hunt for the Horn. They included it. But if they were going to concurrently run the stories, then the Shan Shan stuff at the end of season 1 screws it up. Because the easy way they could have done that is have the Shan Shan invade at Tyr.
Right.
You could have brought both plot lines together and actually kind of wrapped it up in a nice little bow. But they chose not to do that.
So they're making the Egwene and Nynaeve a lot more powerful quicker. And I think what'll happen is that Egwene will get tricked and Leandrin will trick them into Falme or wherever. Maybe they don't even go to Falme. Maybe it's another city. I think they're going to go there. And I think what's going to happen happens, but just cut out the Balsamon stuff. I think the Horn will be there as well, possibly, or actually, I don't even know. But they'll wind up freeing themselves. Like Egwene will get freed by Nynaeve and Elaine and Min. You don't need Rand there. That could just happen and resolve itself without the big battle in the sky. And instead, Rand could go down to Tyr and fight Balsamon or Ishamael and kill him there.
Well, but they set up the Horn of Valyr needing the dragon.
Yeah.
So maybe the Horn gets blown into Tyr. I don't know.
Right? Like that's kind of. Let me hit these comments real quick here. Frank,
we know it doesn't. They set the book up like that too.
Well, that's true. But he was there, and the banner was there.
Yeah, he was.
Right. Remember, the book POV is Rand, and the show is Moraine. Totally different animal. I'm not sure they did exclusively Moraine's point of view, but they did set up Moraine having a story arc in the next season, which she would not have had otherwise, because Moraine basically sits out book 2.
Yeah.
So they had to give her something to do. Are you guys in agreement? She's shielded, not stilled.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, she has to be shielded.
They
showed the shield on her, the same shield that Logain had.
I have to go back and watch that again.
I think it's just a tied-off shield, and she'll figure out how to get out of it somehow.
I think it's obvious that she was shielded. Like they did the same. Like it would have to be incredibly inconsistent,
Right.
and I would be very disappointed if she was stilled. Honestly, I would be disappointed because they set up the visual cues for what it looks like to be shielded. They did that. He's even holding the little thing in his hand and
You're right,
twisting
he
it
is.
into a knot.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And we saw Logain being gentled, and all the power was like
Pulled
flowing
out
out
of
of him.
Yep.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
And it wasn't happening for her. It was going
Yeah.
into her,
Yeah.
not out of her. Trippy. Oh, Scoticus. Scoticus. Okay. I overall like the first season. I will say I wish they would have put the prologue as the episode 8 open. What's one you wish you could have seen? Ooh. So what's a scene you wish you could have seen from book 1 that you didn't get to see?
Oh.
Mm.
I don't. You know, it's funny. My wife asked me that the other day. She's like, "Did they cut anything out like big out of the first season that was in book 1?" And I was like, "Not really."
Yeah.
The
Green Man. The Green Man and Balthamel, I
Mhm.
wish I would have seen.
Oh,
Even
yeah,
though it
you
wouldn't
know-
have made sense in the way the show was, but
Yeah.
I really wanted to see the Green Man kill Balthamel. I'm disappointed
I
I
mean,
don't
the
ever get to see
Chicans.
that.
That's the
Yeah,
big thing they cut.
Elaida's prophecy. We knew we weren't
Yep.
getting it from the jump, but like that's the coolest thing I think that gets completely cut. I would have liked to seen Loyal in the back half of episode 7 because they get to Faldara and then he's gone. Yeah, I don't. From what the show did, there was nothing I think in the there was nothing that I thought like was in the books that I really wished I would have seen. Like the end of the Eye of the World, like it's completely different in the series, but the end of the Eye of the World novel doesn't make any sense. And like if they had tried to do that, like Rand climbs the stairs in the sky, and he teleports, and like there's just a big pool of the one power,
And the what's the
Yeah.
chords?
the chords.
Oh, we knew they were cutting the
Cut
cords.
the
Come on.
chords.
So like I didn't think they were going to do a straight adaptation of that, so I didn't miss any of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would say just I guess whatever. Like if you put it in my head, more character moments, more.
Yeah. Well, I could get behind some of the visuals that we missed. Like I would have loved to have seen Whitebridge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know again, I'm talking hypothetical here. I would have loved to have seen Camelin. I am still like iffy on the need to go to Tarvalin. I can understand it to a small degree because they wanted to introduce the Aes Sedai earlier. But I think having the White Tower be saved for the next season, I think they could have done it, introducing Aes Sedai politics and done the whole like Logain's escort actually running into Moraine in Camelin. I think they could have done something there to introduce Aes Sedai politics and then save the rest of the bigger politics for the next season. That being said, I mean, it's kind of stupid that Rand falls in a garden and Elaine instantly falls in love with him. And like that whole, like, it's kind of cheap, but
he's very handsome.
Ginger bearded geek. First of all, that is an awesome looking beard in your picture there.
Oh, wow, yeah.
How will Fane scare the heck out of Fades if they haven't done the whole more death thing? They kind of have, right? Like, that is my other disappointment is we're clearly missing some scenes with how Fane got that dagger.
Yeah.
We don't even know what the dagger is. Land picks it up right with the cloth, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Nobody even talks about where it is.
And then, like, why was Fane whistling in Shadow Logoth?
Oh, that's
we
just
didn't see him there.
Like, it's just a little.
Yeah.
But you heard the whistling.
Right.
Yeah, he was there.
He
You
was
saw
there,
the
but we didn't
shadow,
see it.
right? You saw the
Right. So, like, all of that is like, yeah, it's a cool little, oh, yeah, Fane's there, but why is Fane there?
Well, that's
right.
well, he's following them, but this is another thing where I'm like, are they going to go in season 2 and do a flashback of Fane and Shadow Logoth, and you're going to find out something happened? And I'm like, please don't keep doing that. Please don't keep doing flashbacks to try to fill in gaps.
Right. When I would say, like, when I rewatched the episode in Shadow Logoth, like, Fane's whistling to my viewing of it wakes Matt up and like leads him on.
It definitely does.
Right, and leads him to find a dagger. So like that that indicates to me, even though the show isn't like really, I think super directed it, that like Fane wanted him to grab that dagger. So maybe the Mortis stuff happened already, and like
Right.
that's what you're gonna find out. Like he's already like that integration has already occurred. I don't know.
I thought the same thing, man. I was same thing. We're going to take a brief minute now. I want to do some. This is shameless promotion time. Guys, Tarval and After Dark is taking a break. We have ended our first season. Do you guys do seasons on your podcast?
No.
This is the first week we haven't put out an episode.
You guys are like good hard workers, and we aren't. That's the difference. So we're taking a couple week break, but doesn't matter. You can still listen to the podcast if you haven't. I normally play a clip, so I am going to play one of our old. Man, which should I go like completely inappropriate, moderately inappropriate? You guys tell me. What should we do here?
All the way.
Completely inappropriate.
Completely inappropriate?
Yes.
Chat, should we be completely inappropriate for YouTube, or should we just like moderately inappropriate? Okay, you convinced me. Here we go.
Hey, Tarvalin residents. Are you and your special someone struggling in the bedroom? Is the fire gone? Do you need some adventure to reignite your love life? Nothing will set your groins ablaze more than a visit to Erotica Sedai's Pleasure Palace. Erotica Sedai's Pleasure Palace offers the finest and most luxurious intimacy-themed ter'angreal. How can Erotica Sedai help? Well, I'm sure you've heard of a red rod ter'angreal. Well, the Pleasure Palace carries 3 sizes: standard, Aiel, and of course, for you adventurous ones, Ogier. Hey guys, embarrassed that your bits and pieces are a bit too small? Well, you need Erotica Sedai's specialized mirror of Miss ter'angreal. It will have you looking like the Tower of Genji. While we're on the subject, guys, you ever wonder if she's faking it or not? Well, Erotica Sedai has this patented Keeper of the Chronicles figurine ter'angreal. When she hits her climax, the ter'angreal will play trumpets and announce, "She comes, your Amerlin seed," telling your special lady that she's the most important woman in the world. And of course, letting you know that you did your job. And I'm sure you've heard of Dreamweave ter'angreal rings. Well, the Pleasure Palace has ring ter'angreals that will help you stay in the mood all night. And for a limited time, Erotica Sedai is offering a once-in-a-lifetime discount. If you book your session here in the next week, you and your significant other can get your very own specialized fantasy dream shard session for 50% off. Erotica will use her dreaming skills and create the fantasy of your dreams. You want to watch him with a Trolloc? Anything is possible. So come on down to Erotica Sedai's Pleasure Palace. You can find us right next door to the Thirsty Tinker Inn in the Tarvalin Red Light District near North Harbor. Once you come see us, you'll never have a problem coming again.
Well, you
Never gets
delivered
old.
on the completely inappropriate.
I thought so.
definitely.
I mean, look, you encouraged me.
What was that word that got bleeped out?
I'll tell you later, Joe.
It was about a specialized type of ring, Joe,
Oh, okay.
with a very specific purpose.
His earring, right?
But yeah, an earring, yes.
Yeah.
But yes, you guys can check out Tarvalin After Dark at thegreatblight.com/Tarvalin After Dark. That is our podcast. It's not all bits like that, although there are stuff like that. We also talk about the show and books and stuff. But we also do comedy stuff, so a little different there. The other thing I wanted to, quickly, guys, and hopefully you don't mind this. In the past, everybody, I wanted to give kind of an update on, now that the show is over, like what type of content is coming again. Because we're still going to talk about the show. We're still going to do news stuff, but I'm also going to be getting back to doing some lore-based stuff. In the past, like I've made maps, which are a lot of fun to do. Like this is Tarvalin. I tried to make it to scale, and so we'll release these out with the show. Like we've got a Battle of Foam video coming up.
Wow.
So with Lauren from Unraveling the Pattern. Speaking of, there's foam. Anyways, the Age of Legends, right? So this is what I'm working on right now. A little preview. Anybody guess what city that is?
Kyrian.
No,
Camelin. Camelin.
This
Yeah.
is Camelin. Yeah.
Ah,
So I'm in the
See
middle.
the inner city there.
but
These
that was
things,
before Gate.
these things take forever to make. So because
Oh
I
my
place all the
gosh.
buildings, but we're getting there. So I just wanted to show that, just basically to say, guys, we're going to be getting back into some lore content here too. So it'll be fun. We have some time between now and the season, so we'll get going with it. What we were talking about season 2, so back to talking to you wonderful people. Season 2, is there something that like you're the most excited to see like on camera that you would expect to see in season 2?
I think you're going to see Tel'Aran'rhiod in season 2, like, and know that that's what you're seeing. That's I'm excited to see that.
That would be very cool.
Yeah.
Like manipulation of it by the characters, Tom, you're thinking?
An explanation of where it is. And like I mean, I guess technically you do see it in season 1, but you don't know that's what you're seeing. So like, yeah, I think that you're going to get an explanation of that as a concept and start to see people like, whether it be Egwene has dreams or whatever it is, like you're going to start to see that.
Do you think though, like, because I would think it makes sense to introduce that a little bit more with the wise ones, or like when they're in there. I mean, I guess Egwene starts experimenting with it before. That's actually how she meets the wise ones. But do you think that like the Ter'angreal ring, like the Dreamweaver, will be there? Like, do you think that'll exist?
I hope so. I feel like it's an iconic I don't know, item from the books. And I think you might see the Wolf Dream from Perrin's point of view in season 2. And then maybe you get like that concept grows as seasons develop. But like there's been a lot of hints that season 2 is going to cover books 2 and 3, like for the most part. And like that's it. So like after that, like season 3, they're probably gonna be in the IO waste, like by season 3. So I think you need a little bit of explanation. I don't know. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but I'm very excited for them to explore that part of the books.
I want to see. There's a couple of things I want to see. I want to see Matt blow the horn, or somebody blow the horn. Hopefully, Matt. I want to see Kalendor. I want to see Varen. I've got a lot of things I want to see. What else? There was something else too, and I totally forgot now.
How about Elida or Lanfear?
Oh yeah, more Forsaken for sure. Yeah, we need more Forsaken. I think we definitely need more of that.
I'm excited to see accepted tests.
Yes, that was the other thing, Jen. Thank you. The accepted test. I think we're getting that 100%. I think What Series had like posted something about like a stand-in character needed for something, and I thought it was kind of like referring possibly to Nynaeve. Oh, there's an actress who's playing a character called like Elnor or Elnar, who is Nynaeve's mom name.
Oh, so, yeah. I think we would see that in her accepted test.
So that could be an accepted test.
Do you think we're ever gonna see the scene of Egwene coming out of the water?
No, that was in that script. Nae'Blis.
Are we ever gonna see it?
No,
you better see it. It's like the best scene from the first trailer. It's not in the show.
In this script that I read, it's the opening sequence. The opening scene in the script that I read is actually the Guitar Morosa foretelling, and it's Moraine and Swan witnessing the foretelling, and then it goes into Edmund's Field, and it's the Egwene coming out of the water scene. They just cut it.
You know what? I wish they had done that because I hated the cold open to the season.
Yeah, I didn't like it that much.
Almost all parts of that to me.
The Leandrin and hunting, I didn't like that one that much.
That was a bad cold open. I did not actually like too much the last cold open, even though it was cool to see the Age of Legends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were just having a too casual conversation about how the world should be ending within a month.
Thank you. Thank
Tom was
you.
going
I was-
off on that for the last
I'm
episode.
like, they're like, it's like I said, it's like she's advising him not to buy the boat he wants to buy. That's the level of intensity that they have. Not the world is going to end. It was ridiculous.
Here's what I didn't, and again, I want to be very careful when I say this because I said this before. I do not think they've actually crossed this line because it's not really a line that I think is a big deal to cross, but I can understand a little bit. Like, here's what I didn't like about the framing of that conversation. They made it sound like she knew everything. She knew exactly what was going to happen, and that he was just making a dumb old selfish decision that she just doesn't agree with. Oh, gosh darn it. Well, we'll be here to pick up the pieces when you go off and do something stupid.
Yeah.
And what the reality of that is that they had been fighting about this for a while. Her plan was the Choden call. The Shadow overran it. It didn't have the Choden call anymore.
Right.
And so he felt pressure like, we're going to lose within a month. The world is over. I've got to do something. So like they painted him to just be this like prideful idiot rather than it have like he was still prideful. Don't get me wrong. But like they didn't make it seem like there was, number one, any stakes. Number two, that there was any type of difficult decision there at all on either side. Right. Or the rationale behind it. It just like that part was so missing, and that would have been easy to fix. That was just bad dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are
My
the things that bother me the most is like, well, why did you like, okay. So there's another scene in that episode when Rand asks Moraine when they're in the Blight, can you teach me how to channel? And I literally was expecting her to go on her little fish can't teach a bird to fly, swim thing. And she's just like, oh, I can't because you'll go crazy and mad. I was like, what? You could have just said it. Why didn't you say it? Why?
Right. Let me hit some of these because I'm getting behind on them. Ampic Tish, I think. Wigging out to weapons training, Matt and staff, Rand and sword. I would hate to see Rand beating a swordmaster a la book 2. So if I'm reading right, and I'm not reading very well at the moment, but you're wanting to see the training with the weapons of some sort. And I agree with that. I really missed that Lan. Again, they needed more episodes, by the way. Amazon. I know that you guys pay me millions of dollars to give 5 out of 10 ratings on your last episode, but because apparently, by the way, guys, they pay me a lot of money to give shitty reviews on their show.
I've seen your house.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? Well, by house you mean the yacht that I live on?
Yes,
exactly.
Your houseboat.
Houseboats are small, dude. I live on it's like a 300-meter yacht.
Yeah, the helicopter could land right on it. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
Well, on either there's 3 helicopter pads, so it's. TGN says they made it a mystery about what happened to Egwene's ceremony. She was purposely secretive with Rand. Season 2 flashback or bad writing. That's possible.
They cut it. They
I
had
think
to cut
they just
it.
cut
They
it,
had
but-
to. They didn't have time. That's what happened.
I think the secretive part was them like almost drowning in a river, right? Like I don't think the men know like exactly what happens. They just know like some women don't make it back.
Yeah.
How about?
I'm fine that they cut that. Though.
I feel like I'm piling on this because how bad was the Bran Alvear line where he runs up to Egwene when she comes in and he's like, "Oh, my dear, I was so worried about you." It's like the stalest delivery.
I couldn't get past the wig, so
yeah. Anyway, it's just bad. Anyways, I feel like I'm just shitting on things, and I'm not. There's a lot
but the show was good.
The show was good, actually.
Yeah.
No, it was. There was a lot of stuff. I liked. So let's you want good, right? The eye. The way they did Rand and Ishamael, I really, really like the way they handled it. I thought Rafe did an amazing job at making this really complicated, complex, nonsensical scene make sense and did it in a really good way. I really enjoyed that whole sequence.
Agreed. I actually thought I was not sure how they would do that. I thought what they did worked well. Now, I will give one. Okay, I just did this. We just said we're going to talk about good filming, and I'm about to nip it.
I tried to make it good.
I can't help it. It's easier to talk about bad things than it is about good. Because there's a lot of good. I feel like I'm prefacing that now. Why was Malkier Why is the eye of the world? Why is the source of the blight like a half a day's walk into Tarwin's Gap?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why the eye is. So I guess here's my. I'll answer your question with a question. Is the eye of the world really where the Dark One's prison is going to be, or is this just like another mistake that is made by the Aes Sedai?
Is it a seal?
Well, there's definitely a
on the
seal.
prison. Is that the seal on the prison?
Yes,
the
definitely.
seal or a seal?
A seal.
You think a seal?
Yes.
That was pretty big. You think they're gonna have 6 more?
No, I don't think they're all going to be the giant seals.
Well, did they call? I can't remember now. Did they call Swan Watcher of the Seals?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I have to go back to episode 5.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Or
I'm
6.
hoping that's unreliable narrator, but you got to be. Here's the thing: you have to be careful about with unreliable narrator on TV. It works in books because there's a longer time frame in books. You get a little bit more. People take visuals very literally, right?
You showed it to me.
Which is my problem with the Nynaeve resurrection thing, because we know she wasn't dead, right? But everybody else, because of the visual cues, thinks she was dead, and that Egwene brought her back to life. So now they think everybody can be brought back to life. They're doing they're dead, let's bring them back thing too much. Like they're overkilling that because they're going to do it with Loyal. Right? Egwene's going to run up and cry on him, and he'll come back to life. Well, and again, I'll just the Egwene thing too is another piece of what I'm talking about. Egwene's not a good healer in the books, and I don't care that they necessarily make her a good healer for the show. But I like that all of the characters have weaknesses as channelers. Like Rand isn't a good healer, right? Egwene isn't a good healer. Like they do other things well.
Right.
But I don't want everybody who's a channeler to be a walking Mary Sue that can do anything they want anytime they want.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like
it does. I think that they might be doing something specific with Egwene though, where to lead to her, like when in the books, right, when she's imprisoned in the tower, right, and made a novice again, and every Aja is trying to convince her to join her Aja. I think that the show is going to give you a cue that she has the ability to be in any Aja. She has that innate ability. I think it's going to be something specific to her, so that
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, her end thing makes sense.
Sherry Ford says Sidar weaving is too slow. Now, I have a thought on this. Notice the stronger channelers in the series. It's very quick. Did you see how fast the Shamael shields the shit out of Moraine without even a thought? Right? Logain sort of does the same thing. Right? Everybody else, I think they're slower with Sidar because they're not as strong.
Yeah, I think it's a complexity of what they're trying to do as well. Karenna heals Moraine pretty easily and quickly, but when Moraine's doing her big lightning, it takes a while because it's a larger, more complex weave, I think. And I think that's also just for the viewers. Yep. It's just a visual thing. I think as the show goes on and channeling is more established, you're going to get less of the histrionics going on, and it's just going to be people whipping left and right.
Whipping what, Joe?
Whipping
weaves.
Whipping
them out.
Whipping weaves.
Whipping them weaves out.
One other thing that I think we should talk about real quick that is not show related, but so are you guys going to be at JordanCon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Awesome.
Yes,
we're going to be at JordanCon. I know another place that we might run into each other.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Hey.
WotCon.
Yes.
WotCon.
So the 4 of us are all going to be a part of and at WotCon. We're all hoping to run it. It'll be exciting. If you guys want to watch Talk Around Riyadh record an episode live, WotCon is the place to see that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're going to do that.
Audience participation encouraged.
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
Yes.
So WotCon is July 8th through the 10th in 2022, which is this year, in Columbus, Ohio. What is WotCon? Joe?
Oh, you're asking me.
Yeah.
I thought you were doing that thing where you ask yourself a question and answer.
No, I'm going to ask you because I get to talk about it all the time.
It is a Wheel of Time, strictly a Wheel of Time convention focused entirely on Wheel of Time, the books, the show, the pilot, Winter Dragon, if you want it to be. Maybe Billy Zane will be there. No, he won't be there. He won't be there. Sorry. It's created by fans for fans. Only fans. No,
Oh,
it's not
no.
only fans.
Joe will be actually debuting his OnlyFans at
Yes.
WatCon.
Yes.
You'll be able to sub.
It'll be a lot of fun though. It'll be all Wheel of Time fans hanging out, talking about the books, talking about the show, complaining about the show.
And what's fun about it? I had an absolute blast at JordanCon. I know you guys did too. Like that's where we all met each other for the first time. Jen and I got Brandon Sanderson to sign a book there at the same time.
That was awesome.
Like that was a ton of fun. And like I remember a lot of us, you guys included, were sitting around afterwards like, I wish we could do this more.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like we could just do more of this. And this is just another excuse to do that. So
Yeah.
here's what I would say to all of you. If you have the money only to go to one convention, go to the one that's closest to you. If that's JordanCon in Atlanta, go there. If that's WatCon in Columbus, come here. If you have the money to go to both, I'm going to be at both.
I'll be there. Both.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of fun. I would go to like 5 of these if I could. Because it's a lot of fun to just, I know you guys all have other friends that you can talk to Wheel of Time about. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So like being able to go and nerd out with other people that want to talk about a 15-book series about characters that don't exist. And like, it's fun to be able to do that. And it was really cool to like, I know, especially last year, because it was like COVID, we didn't see people in general for a while.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we all talked online. Like that's when all these Discords were growing up, and we got to go there and like physically sit down and, hey, I've heard about you before.
Right.
Now I know what you look like.
Yeah.
Right?
Putting faces to the names was
Mhm.
definitely awesome. Getting to actually, this is going to sound kind of creepy, but I don't mean in a creepy way, but getting to actually touch people,
Mhm.
not in that way, like shake hands,
Yeah.
hug,
Yep.
was awesome.
It was very exciting to like, and not just like, whatever. Like, it was cool. Like, obviously it was very cool to meet you, Nae'Blis. It was cool to meet other content creators, but it was also cool to meet just like people that I know from the community, from Twitter, from Discord servers, from YouTube chats or whatever. Like, and like you meet somebody, you're talking to them like 5 minutes and they're like, oh no, I'm whomever, like, I'm like, oh, I know you. I know who, I've been talking to you for a year. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that this is who you were. Like, it was very exciting, and I agree. Like the ability to do that more than once a year is
Mhm.
great, right?
Yeah. I'm excited about it. So again, just to throw up the graphic one more time, you can get more information on WatCon by, I know this is going to sound crazy, guys, going to watcon.com. Watcon.com, more information on it. One thing that I feel like is worth mentioning, just so people know, we built in food. I don't know about you guys, but I spent like $350 on food at JordanCon. like literally for the time I was there. And so with WatCon, what we wanted to do was like build in the food cost to a degree. So like the tickets include some of the food. There are 2 different ticket levels. So check that out if you guys want to come. These folks, if you want to hear more from them, and you should want to hear more from them, they actually release podcasts every week, unlike me. Talk Around Riyadh at talkaroundriyadh.com. What do you guys have coming up here soon? You're taking a week off, or what's coming up for you all?
Yeah, we took the week off. So usually we drop new episodes on Monday, but we took this week off. So there was no new episode for today, but we will be picking back up for next week. We're going to do another. So I guess I should mention, we're typically like a spoiler filled podcast, but when we did spoiler free episodes for the show, we did we have a friend of ours who's never read the books. He watched the show with us, and we did episodes where he came on and we talked about the show, and he's a writer too, so it was kind of great to have his perspective from from it. So we did do spoiler-free recaps and reviews of the actual TV show episodes. We're going to do one more. We're bringing him back one more time just to kind of look back on the first season and kind of just review everything that we talked about and, give our final thoughts on it. And then we'll probably go back into, we want to get I guess we probably want to get some other guests on to talk about the season. Maybe you guys from Tarvalon After Dark could come on and,
we're always down.
Talk more about the season. And then it's season 2. We're going to start going back into news for season 2 and speculation. We've got more characters. We've got new characters to talk about. So what we've been doing is typically when we'll do deep dives into characters that we know are going to be in the season. So we've basically covered obviously everyone in season 1, but now we've got some new characters in season 2. So we'll do some deep dives into some of those characters and then, talk about whatever news comes out that we can get our hands on. Hopefully the, like you said, John and Narg and the Watt series people can dig us up some good information.
Right. Real quick, I don't know who this person is in the chat. I have never heard this before. The Dusty Wheel.
Matt.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Doesn't ring a bell. Well, he knows who you three are. He must be a listener. But hi, Dusty Wheel. Thanks for hopping in the chat. Always love it. Okay, so we are going to end. I am going to do 2 things here to end. Number 1, I want to remind everybody that we will be in Discord after this. Not we. I don't speak for them. They can come if they want. But I will be in Discord live after this. We usually have a little chat. So feel free to come. If you're not sure what Discord is, just click the link in the description. It'll automatically download and you'll join. It's just a place where we get to talk and chat. It's sort of like, would you guys think of Discord as sort of like the new theory boards, like message boards?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's basically like that. It's a little bit more live.
It's cooler though because it's more exclusive.
Well, and the last thing that I want to mention here is I think we'll do one more shameless promo, primarily because you guys thought my last one was too inappropriate. So do we want something slightly less inappropriate this time?
Okay.
Fine.
Or equally inappropriate. Well, okay. So here we go. We'll just do something that is this is completely appropriate, yet everybody seems to love it, so we'll just play it. Here we go.
I was winning too much in the end with my lucky dice, and now they are accusing me of cheating. I'd better call Gall.
I just happened to be hanging out with a murderer and someone saw it. Now they're accusing me of being a dark friend. Time to call Gall.
I'm a High Lord of Tyr, and one of the lowly peasants got mad that I murdered his brother for looking me in the eyes. Now the Dragon Reborn wants to cut my head off. I better call Gall.
Hi, I'm Gall. Have you been accused of something and you don't want anyone to think you actually did it? Do you want to get away with it? I believe everyone is innocent until proven guilty, and I can make sure no one is left alive to prove you're guilty. You better call Gall. I will stab the fuck out of your accuser with spears, making sure there is no one left alive to actually find you guilty of a crime. So, if someone has accused you of a crime or they want to kill you, I will kill them first. You better call Gall.
Oh my god. That was great.
How's Bob Odenkirk doing anyway? Anybody know?
Yeah, right. I think he's doing better.
Okay, good. Glad to hear that.
Real quick before we go, thank you again, Tarwin's Taint, for the wig. That's a great name, Tarwin's Taint. It's the best. Well, guys, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you hopping on, and you have to do this again sometime. This was fun.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, thanks
Thank you
for
for having
us, man.
Thank you.
Guys, we'll see y'all in Discord. Thank you for joining, and bye.
Bye.
Bye.